read and look at the words when he jumps in. So he and I were just in conversation over on Instagram. Chica girl, I don't know where my earphones are. I had to go look for them. You know you be losing your headphones. I'll be losing mine. But listen, y'all, I'm just going, like I said, I want to be honest with you about Tuesday night. Tuesday night, I really had a hard time sleeping. And I'm not a person that gets like riled up about a political party at all. But I could not sleep because I felt like I didn't want to wake up tired. I didn't want to wake up more tired than I already am of just experiencing J Miles funny, of just experience this constant obsession with the black body and like bringing damage and oppression to the black body. Y'all, I just didn't want to continue waking up with that. And that's how I felt on Tuesday night. I'm just like, I don't want to wake up tomorrow and hear that for another 4 years, we have to be exposed to an infantile mindset in a position of leadership that really is a reflection of what we know this country really represents, the white people in this country and racism. Do y'all get what I'm saying? I was like, I don't want to wake up tired like that. I don't want to continue in that. So in a sense, I had these levels of anxiety on Tuesday night, not about a party winning, but about this continuation of this infantile behavior and the way that we talk and frame and attacking of people. Do y'all hear me? So listen, y'all listen to this. This is what Sean Curry posted the other day, and it's from the Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams, right? Listen, y'all. It says, our anxiety comes from the desire to have things be different. I had anxiety on Tuesday night. I really did. There's going to be the day after the election and the day after that. We need to be present to what is, regardless of the outcome you want. My ancestors had to prepare themselves over and over again for moving toward a freedom that was nowhere in sight. Y'all hear that? That's how I felt. I'm like, damn, we got to go through another 4 years of this. We prepare for life as it unfolds, not our ideal image of it. That's it. Literally, the only path forward, y'all, is for us. And that's why I'm talking about this 60 days of change. To me, the only way forward in life, as humans with humanity, is to look at ourselves and to become more aware of ourselves and to get connected with ourselves, not just physically with this physical cleansing, but a spiritual cleansing. And when I say spiritual cleansing, I'm not suggesting that anybody go out and study any particular religious practice. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about this awareness. Jay Miles just asked me this question while we were on his conscious conversations. He says, what do you think magic is? Like, what's your definition of magic? And y'all know what I think is magic? Magic is awareness. It is magic to me when I wake up and I become aware that with each breath in through my nose, there's more particles of, what am I saying? Particles, y'all. More molecules with each breath in coming into my nose with each breath than there are the amount of sand on the beaches of all this world. Do y'all hear me? You said the only way out is in. And that to me is what we mean by the only path forward. Literally, the only way we can keep moving forward is to go in and check ourselves, to just be with yourself, to gain this consciousness, this understanding, this awareness of you and why you show up how you show up. And when you show up, the way you're showing up and the energy that you're bringing in every room that you walk in. Jay Miles said, get your house in order. It's not about building. And to get your house in order, y'all think about when the old people used to say that. You need to go and get yourself together or get your house in order. This being the house, right? This awareness of you and being able to deal with the vacillations of the mind. And y'all hear me constantly talk about not being swept up by the things around you. So when we talk about Georgia and we talk about the elections, and it really was like, I am tired. Like, I don't want to get up tomorrow and know that we have a human being. And y'all know what? This is how I think about it. Donald Trump is just basically like he's the icon for white supremacy and whiteness and just this construct of whiteness. He's the icon. He's their representation. And we can look at him for that. But the sad part is we put this icon, we put this image, this representation in a space that is going to influence the masses, not just whiteness, but the masses, right? So The sad part is we put somebody in that space who needs to have a history, an understanding, and awareness, a consciousness of all people, and a consciousness and awareness of all variations and differentiation, right, y'all? Somebody who has studied our political system, the past and the potential for the future. Somebody who has studied and is aware of the outcomes. Somebody who has studied and is aware of like consequences, both intended and unintended. But y'all, basically, when we as a country voted him in, it's like voting a plumber to be your brain surgeon. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like we voted for a plumber to come in and do brain surgery. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So when we talk about this and being aware of this and being aware of like what really matters is me getting in line with myself and how I'm going to show up in this world, how I'm going to show up in this country, how will I show up in my community? How will I carry the energy that I own? Y'all know that? That to me is why I couldn't sleep and this anxiety came up, because I'm like, tomorrow he will be igniting and inspiring people to be ignorant as he is. You said, J Miles said, I actually turned up Tuesday evening, forgot about the election, woke up the next day and unpacked. Oh, jump back in the, as the world turns. You said he's the Machiavellian prince, right? So, but then what does that tell us about us, y'all? You said when you hear the president speak, your blood pressure should go down, not up. So remember what I said about yesterday about unsettled people. So I felt unsettled to think about this individual will be in front of our screens for another 4 years. And so when I play the song Georgia, that's us walking in hope, walking in desire, walking in this kind of wanting this feeling of relief, right? We want a little relief from it. Don't y'all be like that when you're around ignorant people with ignorant behaviors? You just want a little relief. You just like, I'm tired of this. I just need a little respite. I need to get away. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So that's what I felt on Tuesday night. I'm just like, I just need a little respite. Not saying that I'm just like, oh my gosh, Biden. I just need Biden to come into here and be president. I don't necessarily align with any one particular party, because I don't think that one can capture everything that I believe and feel. In addition to the fact that I know how to govern this, I don't need a government. I don't need someone governing over me. Not saying that you can't tell me nothing, because I am aware that we all need each other, right? I'm aware that we all need each other and we grow and we live and feed off each other. But in regards to governing, I can govern this. I'm aware and I'm conscious enough to be able to govern this. And so, y'all, I'm going to get back to my point. The 60 days of change is about you learning to govern you. You learning to govern you. So we're all not sheeple. Like we're looking for somebody to come save us. Like my girl Toya said last night on Heart. Dang, Toya, what is it? Heart work, right? She said, get on your knees and pray and then get up and save yourself. Do y'all hear me? So this awareness of the divine is within you and that you have the ability to pray, but also get up and do, right? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Oh my, you said, oh my, dude, right, Martha? So y'all, I can't turn the song back on for us to listen to it because they'll kick me off Facebook. But the last thing I want to say to y'all is, okay, J Miles, one more thing. Had he been reelected, we would have grown stronger in our resolve, not weaker. Our powers would have emerged faster than they are now. Hey, J Miles, let me just say this to y'all. So at the end of the semester, usually towards the end of the semester, my students start doing systems presentations. And I have them choose a topic about a people groups that either has experienced genocide or some type of oppression or completely annihilation or wiping out. So the first group presentation that was done, and y'all, let's talk about this. The first presentation group that was done was the Great Migration. 3 young sisters presented yesterday on the Great Migration. If you don't know about the Great Migration, you need to go look it up, go learn it. Ooh, The Warmth of Other Suns is a good book. But the Great Migration, we didn't learn that in school. J Miles, just like you were talking about, I did not learn about the Great Migration until I was in my PhD program, y'all. When you learn about the Great Migration and the push and pull factors of why so many Black people left the South, and then what happened in that process of them leaving the South. My students were presenting about that yesterday. And y'all want to know what came up? what came up is we spent a little time talking about the Red Summer of 1919. How many of you know about the Red Summer of 1919 and what happened in Chicago? So what happened in Chicago in 1919? Y'all know you got Lake Michigan and people go out to go swim. And then there's this boundary back in 1919. There was a boundary where the black people could only swim over here and the white people could only swim over there, right, y'all? So in this process of people out on the beach in the summer of 1919, you had a young black boy, a little baby boy, 17-year-old, because of the current, he was drifted. The current took him over. You know, he's out there swimming. The current took him over to the other side where only white people were allowed to swim. And immediately some white men start stoning him, throwing rocks and stones at him, and he drowned. Do y'all hear me? So in the summer of 1919, this is what we're talking about. This is what we're tired of. People only know about Tulsa and Rosewood. I could go down the list, y'all, and give y'all example after example of what we're tired of. So in that process, the riots, the Red Summer of 1919, there were riots all over the country, but starting in Chicago, because the black people that were out on that beach that day, they were waiting for the police officers to come. And when the police officers came, they were saying, you need to arrest these men. They just killed our baby boy. And do you know what happened? Those police officers said, no, we won't arrest these men because he shouldn't have been on the other side. They literally stoned him, threw rocks at him until he drowned in the water. So y'all, when I say we're tired, this is what we're tired of. This is an example of what we're tired of. So Jay Miles, another fun fact about Red Summer, it was during the same time as another pandemic. See, Jay Miles, I didn't know that. I told you we'd be flowing. I did not know that 100 years ago it was during another pandemic. So what does that say to us? It say that we can easily get tired. Hey, y'all, look, let me show y'all this book real quick. So this is Eve Ewing, and she wrote a lot of poems because she was in graduate school and learned about some of this stuff that happened in history that we don't get taught. So y'all look at this picture. I don't know if y'all can see it, but just look at this image. Just look at this image. This is what we're tired of. This is what we're tired of. Or when we just can't even look at a black child and see their humanity and potential. When they're in school and they're being labeled as disruptive or aggressive, and we want to put remediation programs to stop them from joining gangs. Y'all, first of all, we need to quit that type of language. We need to cut all of that deficit language from everything we speak and write. When we want to say things like, oh, put him in this program to prevent him from joining a gang or prevent him from using drugs, or even labeling somebody as at risk. Nobody's at risk. You might be at risk of inclusion, at risk of getting excluded from things, at risk of exclusion. That's what I mean. You might be at risk of exclusion, not having resources that will help you, but we got to see each person and the humanness in all the people, right? And we got to like completely unlearn some of these things that we've been taught. And even when it comes to Black people and their history, to become aware of it. And we know our educational system won't provide that. So you need to start providing that. Do y'all hear me? Okay, so Jay Miles, you said it was the Spanish flu. I didn't even know that. What'd you say, Brother Chuck? You said, how do you remain so positive knowing so much negativity? Here's the point to it all. During the Great Migration, y'all sitting in class, y'all listen. My babies were sitting in class presenting. These are undergrad students. 3 sisters get up and present about the Great Migration. I got my baby boy Marlo over here. Brilliant, right? So they start touching on the Harlem Renaissance. So y'all, you need to know the context and how stuff comes to be. First of all, if y'all know anything about the Harlem Renaissance, that when we say Harlem Renaissance, the only thing we should say with that is magic. If you know about the Harlem Renaissance and what was birthed out of that. So why did the Harlem Renaissance come about? It was because people were fleeing from the South because of Jim Crow and all the violence and attacks on Black people and the discrimination and segregation. They moved up and Harlem was booming. And in their movement, all of this magic came out. Do you hear me? So Jay Miles, yes. So when you talk about moving from using all of this negative context and birthing and creating beauty, Harlem Renaissance. So my baby boy said, he was sitting there like this, y'all. His name Marlo. He was sitting in class as the girls did their presentation. He was like, y'all know what? I took a music class about the Harlem Renaissance and we focused on music from the Harlem Renaissance. He was like, now it's starting to come together. The people that were created during the Harlem Renaissance were people that moved up from the South. And in all of that, from all of that mud came this beauty. That's what this baby boy started talking about. He was like, I'm putting it together, like the context, the whole story of how the Harlem Renaissance came to be. He's like, wow. And I'm like, y'all know that's true? That this is what I used to say to my own children every time they experience racism. This is how I experienced racism growing up in K through 12 school and being experiencing racism because I was always usually the top person in my class and I was invited to be on, like Scholars Cup and things like that. But because I was a person of color, I used to observe where I didn't get opportunity. But I used to say this in my mind, y'all, and y'all got to say this. Every time an adversity came for me or when white people discriminated against me, I used to say, you know what? Y'all don't even know. You just making me better. Because that's how you grow. That's how you get better, when somebody presents you with a challenge and when you take it as a challenge and not a threat, and then you decide in your mind, I'm about to overcome. So I tell my kids that as they go through school, I'm like, if you experience, even the other day, Robbie said a teacher was arguing with him about the elections and wanted to talk about how Black people constantly complain and feel like, privilege is not a thing. I said, Bubba, that's what I call my baby. I said, you know what? You feel comfortable using your voice. Never disrespect anyone. But every time they come for you, just know that they're making you better. Like, you think you coming to harm me, but you actually helping me sharpen. You actually bringing some fire so that I can purify and get even better. Y'all hear that? So, Shira, you can relate. You had that with Key Club. I remember with Key Club, girl, all of it, all of those experiences. And I'm just like, y'all don't even know you're making me better. So all we keep doing, y'all, is getting better. But that doesn't mean we don't get tired. There has to have a balance. There has to be a balance of things, right, y'all? We got to have a balance. Like, you can't have too much of this and not enough of this. We need to, just like you get your losses, you got to have your wins. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Y'all, let me get off of here. And yes, J Miles, neuroplasticity, our ability to change, that ability to just continue to evolve. Because you only got one option if you don't evolve. You either evolve or die. So another fun fact, and then I'm about to go. Another fun fact, during the Great Migration, United States government had severely restricted immigration based on the perceived notion that the people from Eastern Europe and other places would come to America and pollute the gene pool. Eugenics. Not only that, do y'all know when industry was booming, when we think about those major cities where there was industries and factories and railroad work and slaughterhouses, let's think about, that's why it's such a debate between Pennsylvania, right? You got Pittsburgh, then you got Chicago, and you got all these major cities, Cleveland, New York. Y'all think about all these major cities. And in those major cities, you had all these brand new immigrants, these Europeans that were coming over, but they started even saying that the Irish and the Italian were like the niggers of the white people, like the lowest of white. So then they even started putting them against each other. So there was this setup of putting different people groups against each other so that basically the people at the bottom can stay at the bottom. Do y'all hear that? So for a period of some years, the growing factories in the North and had no workers. And that's why you got the Chicago Defender. You got all these newspapers that start going to these people that created Black newspapers that will go down to the South and start telling Black people like there's a better way. And then that there's an opportunity to move up to the North and to be able to work and take care of your family. And that's why I remember my grandma used to always say, y'all, 3 hots in a cot. Do y'all remember that phrase? So that came out of that process of industrialization and people moving up and working in these factories. So it would be like this rotation of 3 hots in a cot. What are 3 hots? 3 hots are your 3 meals, and a cot is something you sleep on. So in this rotation, you can go and stay somewhere and you could get 3 hots in a cot. And that was something that you got when you moved up to the North, probably with no family and nobody, but somebody could offer you 3 hots in a cot. Do y'all know? You heard that before? Sheikah, my grandma used to always say 3 hots in a cot. So Black people were basically immigrating to those cities. Yes. So y'all, The Warmth of Other Suns, I think her last name is Wilkerson. Beautiful, beautiful book. And I'm really about to get off here this time, but I want y'all to know that Georgia is on our mind because we tired. And we even though we know we gonna always rise up and keep going, it's like we need a respite. We need a break. We need a vacation. We need to just give us a little getaway from this racism for a little bit. Give us a little pause. Let's take a little pause. And then we're going to keep shining. Right, y'all? All right, y'all. I got to go. I got plenty of things to do. Oh, if y'all want to join me for some breath work and bringing justice back to our bodies, y'all go register for my 12:30 session. It's with the Foundation of Healthy Kentucky, and I've collaborated with them at 12:30 Central Time, 1:30 Eastern. You can go to the page, register for it. It's a 30-minute webinar. Specifically, I'm going to be speaking about like what stress does to the body and how we can use the breath to manage some of the damage that stress does to the body. Okay. Yes, that right on. Still we rise. Now 3 hots in the cot. Oh, yes, it's a jail reference now, but it originally started during industrialization. Do you know that, brother? Okay, y'all, I'm about to get to go. Y'all have a good old Friday, and y'all, let's keep Georgia on our mind because we tired, right? And I usually don't use that kind of language, like I'm just tired, but it's some things that I am tired of. It's some stuff, y'all. All right, Cleora, I love you, sister. Y'all have a good one.